One of my favorite movies that I've ever watched has gotta be Whiplash by Damien Chazelle, and on my pursuit of looking for other great films, La La Land made by the same director came across my page. Okay, well that's not true cause everyone has recommended me this film, but I'm not really into romance, so I've been avoiding it for the longest time, until today. So let me explain to you how this film broke me, or at least its audience. This is Mia. She's a barista who's trying to become an actress, but she keeps failing and failing. It always seems like Mia has bad luck with all the casting auditions she has. One day, after a bad audition, her friends invited her to go to a party, which she didn't really like at first, but with her friends begging for her to come, she eventually ended up going. Which, as she mentioned before, she found it uncomfortable to be around the party. Feeling practically detached, all she could do is leave, though her car gets towed away as there was a parking time forcing her to walk all the way back home. During her walk, she hears a piano coming from a restaurant. Curious about it, she ends up entering the restaurant to finally see what it is. But before that, let me introduce to you to Sebastian. Sebastian's a talented pianist who really loves jazz, so much in fact that he actually believes that it's dying and it is his mission to keep it alive. During Christmas, Sebastian gets a job at a restaurant to play some good old Christmas song, but it is here where we find that Sebastian has a reputation.
It worked on a sort of one for you, one for me type system. How about two for you, one for me? How about all for you and none for me?
That's perfect, yes.
Great.
He likes to play his own music, his own free jazz, and as you might have guessed, Sebastian is the person that was playing the piano in Mia's perspective before. After he finishes the play, his manager calls him disappointed and asks him to leave. During this time though, Mia wanted to approach him, but feeling defeated, he just ignores her and leaves. Coincidentally, at another party, Mia actually spots Sebastian as a pianist for a small band. Here she requested the song I Ran to be played, and it actually ticks Sebastian off as he went out of his way to find her and complain on the song she asked because he is a serious musician. Mia asks Sebastian for his cool serious jacket because she wants to be a serious firefighter for an audition she has, so Sebastian assumed that Mia is an actress and asks if he's seen her in anything, in which she mentioned the coffee shop in Warner Brother. He gets called to play by the other member and asks Mia's name and leave. On the same night, Mia is talking with a guy she doesn't really like, so seeing Sebastian walks by, she uses the opportunity to get away from this person, but she never really asked his name, so she yells,
George Michael!
Sebastian, being forced as if they're together, helps her out. They get up a hill trying to find Mia's car, but they couldn't find it, and it becomes this musical play about how they will never be together. They're never a thing. Once that finishes, she finally finds her car and leaves. This meeting's definitely left an impact on both of them because Sebastian went to find Mia's working place and asked to have a little walk together. Here we found that Mia's dream of becoming an actress comes from watching movies as a little kid with her aunt that was an actress. Aside from that, she also mentions to Sebastian that she hates jazz, which, jazz being Sebastian's whole identity and all, kind of offends him. So he takes her to a bar called Van Beek, and Sebastian uses this chance to change her mind about hating jazz, which seems to work, but in the middle of their fun time, Mia gets interrupted to an audition she's going to have. They're both super excited with the news, and Sebastian makes this movie reference which Mia doesn't really get. So, as the man he is, he invites her to the movies, and she agreed, and they both leave. During the audition, Mia gets the same luck as she's had before. It's clearly visible that the auditioner doesn't really find her all that good, so she comes back home preparing to go for the movie with Sebastian. But surprise surprise, her boyfriend comes reminding her of the dinner they're supposed to have. Forced to having to choose between to go to the movies with Sebastian or a dinner with her boyfriend, she ultimately chooses to go to the dinner. At the dinner, we can tell that Mia does not really have the best relationship with her current boyfriend. She's not very interested in the conversation that they're all having, and it all changes after a sudden piano melody starts playing from the speaker. The same one that we all know and love.
Actually, China's going to build a piano now. Isn't China?
Hearing this, she decides to leave and rushes to see Sebastian. They meet up and both finally sits down to watch, but it's clear they aren't really focusing in watching the movie. A slight move to the hand, the little look back that Sebastian does, and finally, the kiss.
But the stars will still be there.
Moving to learn.
Oh, come on. They decide to continue it somewhere else, a museum. Here, the same melody plays again, but it's different than the ones we've heard previously. I'll put up the music up when it is shown in the movie, so please do compare it yourself and I'll explain later. At the end, however, they finally got the kiss that they've missed previously. With a clear love for each other, it doesn't take long for them to get into a relationship, and they really took the quote-unquote being in their own world to a whole nother level. Because we see time and time again where they are fooling around, dancing, and messing with other people, but I suppose that's really how everyone feels when they fall in love. After a jazz session that they had, a person named Keith comes in trying to recruit Sebastian to be their pianist. Keith and Sebastian doesn't really have the best relationship, so Sebastian turns this offer down at first. The night finishes and they go back to Sebastian's place together. Here, they both get to talk about their future plans, and in Mia's case, she's coming with a solo play titled So Long Boulder City. She's anxious about how it's going to be and whether people will like the play or not, in which he responded by it being a genius play and that the other people's opinion doesn't really matter. She also drew a logo for his future club which says Sebs with the music note as an apostrophe, because chicken on a stick sounds very stupid. Next morning, Sebastian overhears the call Mia has with their parents. Mia is telling the situation that he has, focusing to create his own club in the future, but this leads to a classic talk whether he has a stable job or not, so hearing this, he took Keith's offer to be the group's pianist so that he could have a stable income, in which we're given a guess to why Sebastian doesn't like Keith all that much. Both individuals do have the same goal of keeping jazz alive, and yet both have different ways in doing so. Sebastian does it the traditional way, playing the old jazz like how it used to be, but Keith is trying to revolutionize jazz in order for younger folks to be interested. Hence, same ideal that clashes both their identities. After this, both our couple didn't really get that much time with each other, as they both try to pursue their dreams. But as time passed by, they finally do get their chance, with Sebastian having his first tour, and Mia comes to watch this show, but there's a slight issue. During the show, the jazz they play isn't the typical jazz that Sebastian usually plays. It's a lot more modernized. Mia's a little surprised and eventually leaves before the song even finishes. I never really understood why she left early, but I think it's quite simple enough. Looking back, Mia openly admits that she hates jazz, but getting to know and loving Sebastian made her love the music because of the person. So, knowing that this isn't the same jazz, she's still her old self in which she doesn't really like jazz. Because there's no reason for her to do so in the first place. Because this doesn't reflect Sebastian's identity at all, so hence, there's no reason for her to like it. That same night, Sebastian sets up a surprise dinner for all the lack of time that they were away together. It's a back and forth to catch up with each other, but the problem arises when Sebastian tells Mia that he'll be going on a long tour. A very long cycle of recording and going out on tour where they probably wouldn't meet with each other all that much. Mia eventually asks if he actually likes the music that he's playing because she is worried, but he says it doesn't matter, and she argues back that he's practically leaving his dream behind, in which he tells her that he's doing all of this for her. It's a bunch of misunderstanding that left the dinner in a rather distasteful way as Mia leaves soon after. During the same night as Mia's show, Sebastian gets a reminder of his photo shoot that's actually on the same day. We're never really shown about Mia's show, but when she went on the backstage, some people commented that her show was really bad and this left her in a massive disappointment. On that same night, Sebastian comes rushing to find Mia and apologizes, but she wants to call it quits as she realizes she's not really built for an acting career and leaves to go to her parents' house. The next morning, Sebastian gets a call from an auditioner trying to find Mia because that auditioner watched her show and wanted her to audition for a casting. Sebastian eventually finds her in her parents' house and begs for her to do one more audition, but she doesn't want any of that. She's done millions of auditions and there are always excuses left and right. Not giving up though, Sebastian tells her that he'll pick her up tomorrow in the morning and she should be there. Luckily, she showed up and they both go to the audition, and she has a pretty good feeling about this one. Right after, they both relax at the same spot that they first had their proper talk with. Both of them try to establish where their current relationship is, but due to the condition of both parties, they ultimately want the best for each other, so they had to let go of each other to succeed. And here comes the most gut-wrenching sequence I have seen in this movie.
I'm always gonna love you.
I'm always gonna love you too.
5 years later, we're shown Mia's become a popular actress and people view and treat her differently. and Sebastian successfully bought the right to Van Beek. It seems as if both people have achieved their dreams. Mia comes back home and is looking for someone. Sebastian, perhaps? Nope, she's married, and she even has a daughter. On that same night, Mia and her husband go on a date, but in the middle of the way there was a huge traffic, and so they decided to pull off and find dinner elsewhere. After they had parked somewhere, they noticed some jazz tune playing from a bar. Being interested, they eventually enter to a bar named Seb's. Realizing where she's at, she seems surprised. It's as if she knows what's about to come. She's scared of how both of them ended their relationship 5 years ago. She sits down and looks for a certain somebody that we definitely know, but he's nowhere to be found until he comes up on stage and he congratulates everyone that was playing the jazz before. Then he realizes that Mia's actually present and the whole atmosphere changes. It turns quiet with him telling the audience,
"Welcome to Seb's."
and I'm gonna let the next scene play on its own, so here you go.
I just heard you play, and I wanted...
And that's it. A hypothetical what-if situation just to sprinkle some salt on the wound. Although throughout the movie we're being presented two characters in their life, I believe the movie focused a lot more on Mia's perspective as a whole. If you had remembered, Mia doesn't really like jazz, even she's blatantly said that she hates jazz. She had no interest in it whatsoever except for the first time they had met at the restaurant where she found that tune very interesting. And her opinion about this doesn't actually change throughout the movie. She's only ever loved jazz because she loves Sebastian as a person, and I suppose she's grown accustomed to it. I gave you guys all the scene where the music theme actually plays around, and they're all different from each other. From the first time they had met, the music starts slow and a lot more mellow, but over time and in every scene where they are happy together, the music changes to reflect that as well, until the ending scene where we get the saddest version of the music, reflecting how Mia feels at the current moment, an unresolved feeling with a person whom she's loved before. And there you go. That is La La Land. I would love to talk more about this movie, but it's definitely best if you just give it a shot. Thank you for watching this video up to the very end, and I hope I get to see you more soon. Have a good night.